There's a song that my daughter plays all the time, Steve. It's about how my life would be better off in Colorado.
Would it?
Well, I think it could be, but a couple things. One, I'm really bad with dry air. I'm telling you, I've been underwater in Tampa my entire life. I was born here in St. Petersburg, right? And you're basically a fish. You got water running through your gills all the time. And then you go out to Colorado and you realize why Olympic athletes train there, because there's no oxygen. It feels good. It was brisk. It was nice. It was fresh. It was clean. And it absolutely destroys me. And then we went up to the mountains, which was the whole goal, was to take my two daughters and my wife skiing. And my daughters had not attempted to ski, so that was going to be a challenge. So they got a private instructor and, did that for a couple of days. And they took to it fantastically, just, remarkably well. And then on the second day, they graduated to the big hill, right? The mountain, right? We went on the mountain now, right? So people that have been out to Keystone, Colorado are familiar with that's a great place to learn to ski because they have green slopes. It goes green, blue, and black in that order as to, how skilled of a skier you are. But you can go to the summit, the top of the mountain. We went about 2.5 miles up, and they took on the mountain. And so we're coming down the mountain. I got to ski with them, so I'm following them down. And they're looking really good. They're a little like ducks in a row. I got the instructor in front. And then she decides, because there was a kind of an approaching, cliff, if you will, or drop off on the mountain. She wanted to stop and gather everybody, say like, this is what we're going to do here to navigate and get them down safely. And so they all stopped behind this posted sign, which is slow down. And so thought it would be safe, right? Because it says slow down, and it was before the ridge. And so, Kathy, the instructor, stops, and then my son's girlfriend stops, and then my oldest, Natasha, stops, and then Alexandra, and here comes my wife. And she had been skiing well, and she had skied before, although she was getting a refresher because it had been like 8 years. And so she's coming, and for whatever reason, she felt like she had to be stop close to them, like in a group. And she had way too much speed, and she was going to run right through my youngest. And so she took a dive. She hit the deck, but then she got her knee twisted up, her right knee. And I thought, that didn't look like a hard fall, because everybody falls when you ski. But she said, I heard something pop. Well, waiting on the MRI that we took today for tomorrow.
Ouch.
Looks like a possible was at least a sprained MCL, maybe a tear, possible cartilage, maybe a meniscus, right? One of those things. So yeah, kind of wiped out the final day of skiing there. But
so she didn't get the good news that it's just nerves in the tricep.
No. And see, This is the thing. The real injuries is what happened to the Rays and Shane McClanahan. This other stuff doesn't really matter. We're not going anywhere. We're not pitching. But it does show how fragile the human body can be. And when you can get hurt, really, he was just pitching, right? She was just trying to slow down skiing. But like with Shane McClanahan, when I heard about that, the first thought was, oh my God, it happened to him again. This is clearly the end of his career. Because
that was everyone's thought.
Yeah, we didn't know how bad it was, right? It's like
another Tommy John. You're like, oh no.
But when you watched it, like when you saw him throw and recoil like that, it looked bad, right? It was just like your first reaction was, he did it again, And then you kind of find out, well, what was it, like a tricep strain or something like that?
Nerves. It's the nerves in the tricep. So, which was the best possible
scenario, right?
It's the imaging, like the elbow, the arm, everything looks perfect. They said.
Okay.
It's just the nerves, which they say can happen, and they don't know how long it's going to take to get it to respond right in that. But everything from the surgery and
structurally, his arm is good.
That's what they're saying. Yes.
Okay. And here's what I'm going to say. Doesn't matter. He has had so many things go wrong, and even though they've been repaired and are repairable, and it's incredible. He's had what now? Is 3 Tommy John surgeries? Is that right?
He's had two. He's had two.
He's had two? Okay.
Rasmussen's had three.
Okay. It's hard to keep track. But regardless, his arm is got a lot of high velocity miles on it, right? Like, you take a high revving sports car, and drive it a long distance, and pretty soon it's not going to be as high revving. Like, I know they're concerned, and until you see him on the mound again, throwing upper 90s like he was before he got hurt, and you see that rotate, 5 days after 5 days after 5 days, or whatever rotation they use, and this goes on for over 100 and something innings, you're always going to, and you can say that about any pitcher, but especially a guy like McClanahan, who throws really hard, right? The velocity is his thing. It is. And I know he can throw 4 pitches, including a changeup, which has worked great for him in the past. But the man just he just puts a lot into every pitch. Even though he's big and he's strong, he's got leverage and all that stuff, he still seems to me like one of those maximum effort throwers. You know what I mean? Like when he's on the mound, you can tell he's putting a lot behind it,
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I think your whole body starts to overcompensate for different things, which obviously he's had the Tommy John, so he's torqued his arm that way, and that's what the extra velo will do sometimes. But I think the other parts of your body naturally try to compensate for it. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a kinesiologist or anything like that, although I did do many stories on the great Mike Marshall, the former Dodgers reliever, who coached at St. Leo, by the way. But I feel like just the way he attacks, the way he has pitched, he's probably always been that way, that your physique, your arm, whatever it is, I just think it's going to be hard for him to pitch, a lot of innings in the major leagues from now on. I would not have confidence. If my plan is Shane McClanahan's my ace, you need a better plan.
Well, that was their plan. Now, granted,
I know
granted they have 5 other starters, and this is a reason why, going in the offseason, they had 7 starting pitchers.
Yeah.
They traded Jeffrey Springs.
Then 6, yeah.
But all along they kept saying, and obviously you can't come out and just say, well, we're holding 6 in case someone gets hurt.
Someone's going to get hurt. We know it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they do know it, but
yeah,
you can't say that. So they, just talked about depth and this and the other, but this is why they kept 6 starting pitchers.
Right.
But it
sucks.
Look, there's nothing good about this.
No.
But a couple things out of it. And one, if everything is structurally correct or fine, and it's just nerve stuff, then, hopefully he's not out more than a month and a half, maybe 2 months.
Maybe 2 months, yeah.
But the other part of this, and it's not a good thing, but the Rays were going to limit his innings this year because he hadn't pitched in 18 months. He wasn't going to go out and throw 180 innings. So throughout the year, you were going to try to figure out how to either skip starts or pull him out of games early, et cetera, right? Now
I can run him straight through.
Once he's
right?
ready, the gloves, you don't have to worry about that if he comes back in mid-May, let's say. And we don't know when he's coming back yet, but he comes back mid-May, late May. Like now you don't have to worry about the innings limit through the year. And like I said, it's not a good thing, but
it's a byproduct of him not pitching in the beginning of the year.
Right.
Yeah.
That part of it is now you've shortened his season to 4.5, 4 months. And like I said, we still don't know. I mean, he could be out longer than 2 months for all we know.
Well,
we don't know yet.
And this is the thing. They're not going to even try this guy, right, probably for some time, as far as when he's going to pick up a baseball, throw it, much less throw it hard, right? It's probably going to be weeks and weeks, I would imagine.
I would think they're not going to let him do that until they are certain, or with nerves, I don't know how
they can be.
I don't know with nerves, but yes, that he feels even just a little bit of twinge from a nerve. Like, no, you're not starting yet.
Right.
Like you've got 5 other starters. You seem to manage with pitching every year, no matter how many injuries you have. And by the way, I saw a post. This is off subject, but someone said the White Sox have 6 Tommy John surgeries this spring training already.
What? Oh my God!
I don't know if that was true. I saw that someone tweeted it. I don't know if that's true, but if so,
Whoa.
Oh my goodness.
Whoa.
But the Rays have enough pitching depth where don't rush him back. If he's your ace, which you named him your opening day starter early after not pitching for 18 months, he's your ace.
Yeah.
Like, don't rush him back. Make sure he's ready. Because
Oh,
once
you
he's
have
back,
to.
you want to be able to ride him and use him.
Listen, they'll go to the All-Star break if they have to, if they're not completely sure as you can be without, having a crystal ball. Because at some point he's going to get back on that mound. He's going to start ramping it back up slowly at first, and then the whole routine of batting practice, live hitters, whatever they do, some minor league starts. But he's going to get back on that mound. And at what point, Steve, do you feel? I mean, this is true maybe with every pitcher in baseball, I guess, at this point. But when do you feel like, yeah, we got him now. He's fine. He'll make it through the year, or make it to the All-Star break, or make it to the next inning, And I guess it's universal, but with McClanahan, with that history, um, and the way he throws, I mean, so many guys, I think the velocity is the biggest change in baseball, and that might be why a lot of these young arms are being damaged.
Velocity, spin rate. I
Rate,
mean,
yeah.
all that. I mean, arm angles and just everything with it.
We used to blame it on curveballs, when you were like 11 and 12, and that guy, there always had that one pitcher in the league. They just threw junk, right? But he threw spinners up there all day, like curveball, curveball, curveball. It's like, look at this kid. He's 10 years old, man. He's throwing breaking balls. But I think it's really I just think it's the biggest change is the velocity, and you got to be up to mid 90s plus. And
the amount of curveballs I see in 9-year-old baseball with my son is amazing.
Don't you just want to go to the opposing coach, and say, why, like these kids are so young that A, they shouldn't throw it, and B, they don't need to, because the guys they are facing are young kids that are just learning how to play the game. If you merely just teach this pitcher without spinning the ball how to change speeds, how to throw a change up, straight change, you don't need to have anything breaking. It just has to keep hitters off balance with the velocity.
This is 9-year-old baseball. You don't have to change speeds. Just move the location.
Yeah, just up or down, in or out. Yeah, exactly. Get it over the plate, and you'll probably get them. So yeah, it's troubling to me when I see young kids, and my son played with them. Little shortstop, not a big guy, could get the ball over there from the hole in first base, but then you put him on the mound, it was curveball. And here's the thing: the coaches, in this case, his dad, are calling the signals. They're the ones ordering these breaking balls.
Nah, it's even worse.
They're calling the game.
We've had a kid or two on our team that threw one on their own, just
messing around.
Our coach is like, no, fastball,
no,
done. You're done. Like,
no, don't do that.
They're just doing it on their own because they're kids and they want to be like, that's what
I want
kids
to
do.
Watch my curveball. Yeah,
but it's. We wonder why kids have arm injuries. I mean, their arms aren't even developed yet, and we're trying to do spin and stuff. It's like, come on,
too much reliance on velocity and spin rates and different stuff like that. Just and to sound as old as my dad used to be when I was growing up, is that, and he played professional baseball. He never understood. And he understood sore arms and things like that, and he would tell kids how to treat it and whatnot. But his thing was, well, if you want to avoid it, throw more. It's like, wait, what? He's like, that, yeah. He goes, it's like anything else. You build that up, right? You build up that strength in your arm, and the only way you can do it, they believed at the time, the only way you could do it was actually throw more and become stronger in areas that would help you endure. Of course, these guys were pitching complete games, time after time after time. They didn't even believe in a bullpen. But that too has changed, right? Like, how many up downs do you get? How many pitches in the bullpen do you throw? Like, there's all these analytics and different things. And then the idea back in the day was, did you build up your arm strength? Did you throw, so it's just different. But it was a shame. It's a shame to see that, because, he's going to start opening day. But now, I guess, great news for Ryan Pepio, right? Mm-hmm. He got the surprise news from Kevin Cash, and now he's the opening day starter.
Yep. I got to think that if you're the front office in baseball anymore, and it doesn't matter, Eric Neander, pick your team, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Like, you don't even go in to seasons anymore just hoping, like you're just expecting every pitcher to have arm problems at some point.
Right?
Like if they don't, you're pleasantly surprised.
That's right.
Like that's almost how you have to plan and think anymore. Otherwise, you're just riding that roller coaster of just, oh my god, not again. Like, but when you're seeing pitchers now go through 2 and 3 Tommy Johns, and,
it's heartbreaking.
You know, that like you just have to go in going, okay, we've got, 12, 13 pitchers on the roster. We got another 7 or 8 in the minors we plan on using. Like 4 or 5 of them are going to have major issues with their arm this year. Maybe Tommy John, maybe other, but like you just have to go in expecting it.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree
more than ever before. Like it just, and I don't know if there's an answer or a way to fix it, particularly with how much pressure they're putting on arms and torque and spin and max effort, etc.
Yeah.
I'm also guessing, and athletes being athletes, that pitchers aren't quick to say, "Hey, my arm doesn't feel right." Like I'm just going to pitch through this.
I would think a lot of them do, but you would think that if you've been through what a guy like McClanahan has been through, that the slightest twinge would set you off, right? You'd be triggered by it, right? You'd be like, "Whoa, what was that?" That felt tight. What was that? And almost fearful to throw another baseball. If you had any discomfort at all. But it's going to happen. We used to call it a sore arm.
Mm-hmm.
Dude's got a sore arm today, man.
Yep.
It's like, what hurts? My shoulder. What hurts? My arm. My arm's sore. Where's it hurt? I don't know. Everywhere.
I know John Romano talked to McClanahan today. I heard him on WDAE this afternoon.
Yeah, he did, and he's disappointed.
McClanahan was very very somber.
Yes, yes.
It was going to start. It was going to be his third opening day start, but from coming back from Tommy John and how long he's been out, like he was really looking forward to it, and things were going well this spring.
Pitched well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Pitched well. It's got to be, and then there's fear there too, I'm sure, but really disappointing for as long as he's waited to get back on the mound and have that opening day, which is a big deal still in baseball. It really is. I mean, Pepio's certainly psyched about it. He's got tons of family coming and whatnot. But it just, when the season starts that way, you're like, oh boy, kind of like, here we go. And it's unfortunate it's this close to the opener. So they're playing the Rockies. I was just in Denver. Boy, Coors Field is a beautiful place, by the way.
It is. It's just huge.
It's massive.
Like, it's a beautiful park and a beautiful area and everything, but
it's massive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And speaking of opening day, the Rays starting to transform George Steinbrenner Field.
Yeah, it looks cool, man. Like, get some signage up there, take some of that Yankee stuff down. And I still think that that's going to be energizing. I think it's going to be energizing for the crowd, especially maybe this weekend, because it's not going to be too unbearably hot, and maybe for a couple weeks to come. And the outdoor baseball is a cool thing. The fact it's in Tampa is going to really excite people. Many people, of course, on this side of the bay, is going to really excite them that they're here. It's just a lot to look forward to. How does a ballpark play? It sounds like, since the dimensions are exactly what they are, I think, in Yankee Stadium, that there'll be a launching pad in right field.
Come on, right? Brendan Lau and Josh
man.
Lowe.
Get the ball in the air, right? Just get it in the air, and hope there's a wind tunnel coming out of the Gulf for you. On the other hand, the opponents they got a bat in their hands too. So you wonder how much pitching. How's that going to look?
Say your pitching's got to keep them in the yard now.
Right now, does that mean you're going to chew up more faster if it's a hitter's park?
Well, not only that, but also the weather issues and
then up down. Yeah, you can't have a guy goes out, throws 2 innings. Here comes the thunderstorms. A half-hour rain delay, hour rain delay. We can't bring our guy back at that point. He's cooled down already. So the volume of pitchers, the quality of your bullpen, like all that's going to be maximized. But I still in awe. I think I'm excited because I just want to see what it's like, even in a tragic result kind of abbreviated way. What does baseball look like in Tampa, and what does it look like outdoors in Tampa at the major league level? I have that picture in my mind, and probably a lot of people have had it in their minds. And now we get to see it, right? We get to actually see it, and it's going to be fun. And I think the players are going to be stoked about this. I really do. Maybe on both sides, we'll see. But I think it's going to be definitely, a festive type, energetic crowd. Even though there's only 12,000 or so, but they'll be into it. I think that has a chance to really be a special year for them. And by the way, you mentioned Brandon Lau. He's been crushing the ball of late. And then I think I saw where Josh Lowe had a couple of knocks the other day.
Yeah, they've been good. The one worrisome bat that you look at is Johnny DeLuca, who struggled this spring.
Yes.
He's expected to be your center fielder.
Right. That's right.
And you just wonder what kind of leash he has.
Well, there is a guy in the minor leagues that maybe with the big league club, I don't know by now, but certainly can play center field and can run like hell.
Yeah, well, he's in the minors now, but
yeah,
you wonder if they feel Chandler's ready,
right?
And how long of a rope they give Johnny, or leash, or whatever you want to call it. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
And look, I mean, the Rays aren't usually not one to rush guys,
right?
So, if they're going to call him up at some point, they're gonna think he's ready for it. They're
But
not just going to call him up just because Johnny DeLuca's struggling. It's going to be, is the kid ready?
And I don't know how you judge that, but I would say this: maybe he needs work defensively. I don't. Maybe he doesn't have the strongest arm. There could be some things like that, but especially the way he approaches the game and the way he plays.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
He will, no matter where he goes, whether he stays in the minors or he comes to the big leagues, he brings an identifiable weapon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is his speed. His speed is not going to stay in Durham or anywhere else.
No, but it's got to be able to get on base.
Well, but okay, so think about this. So I, myself, or probably 90-something% of major league players have to hit their way on the base, right? They have to make solid contact.
Yep.
Drill the ball past the infielder, hit a gap somewhere. This dude can literally play pepper, okay? Bat on ball. And probably more often than not, he's going to beat the relay there. He's going to beat the throw. And if nothing else, put a ton of pressure on a defense, especially if there's guys on base, et cetera. So I don't know, what is getting ready, right? Could you be up there and strike out a bunch? Yeah, maybe. But I just want him to just hit the ball somewhere, because we're not looking for a guy that, we know he's going to try to hit 30 home runs and he might strike out 500 times. But, this guy, he just has to make contact. Yep. And he's a weapon for that team.
I think the ready part of it, some of it's physical, some of it's that. A lot of it's the mental part.
Maturity, right?
Is the kid ready to come up? And if he struggles,
well, how does he react to it?
Is it gonna hurt? I mean, and when you come up, it doesn't mean you don't get sent back at some point.
True.
I mean, we've seen that happen to
yeah.
Franco, to Willie Adames. Like, it doesn't mean you're coming up and you're there to stay. Hopefully you are, but it doesn't always work out that way. But
yeah,
part of it's the mental makeup of it. Like, how do you handle that? How do you deal with that?
How do you handle the adjustments too? I mean, and
Mm-hmm.
invariably, like those pitchers who will study him this spring, and then as he gets into the majors, he won't see pitches that he'll want to handle. Like, he'll have to work much harder to just make that contact we're talking about. But that speed, man, I really do hope he makes it up in soon.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I can't wait to see it.
I can't wait to see this dude in action. I really can't. What a weapon to have at the top of your lineup. That'd be great. That'd be just great. But yeah, baseball's back, man. Although, what was this thing? So the Dodgers went to Japan and actually started the Major League season and then came back and played exhibition games afterwards?
Yeah.
Who does that in the world of professional sports?
Isn't that like the World Baseball Classic? And then they came back and played exhibition games?
It's like a friendly. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. The Dodgers' magic number is already 161. So
I know. Shohei's got a homer. That team. Good luck.
Yep.
NL West. But yeah, so it should be a national holiday. There's no better day than opening day in the United States. I look forward to it every year,
Well,
man. It's
unfortunately,
cool.
the Rays don't play on opening day because Thursday is opening day.
I know.
Which they were supposed to, but then they pushed it back to give them an extra day
to travel, right?
to get Steinbrenner Field ready.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
I mean, they're traveling from Port Charlotte to Tampa.
Yeah,
They can make that in a day. That's no problem. But
yeah, crazy transformation, man.
Yep,
it's gonna be great. I think we'll look back at this year and say, "Wow," I think we'll say a couple things. Baseball works better in Tampa, and we knew it all along. Granted, how do you judge that? It's only 12,000, not 20 or 25 or 40. So how do you judge it, right? That's one thing. And then I think that it's just going to be, I think it's going to run through the team in terms of like, we like playing here. We really like playing outdoors, which may or may not be sustainable based on wherever the new stadium goes and what it looks like. I think it'll be climate controlled of some ilk. And is there enough excitement or momentum generated by that to do one of two things? Make Stuart Sternberg pony up for whatever deal he can actually get at this point in the game and keep the Rays here, or will that fervor, drive up the price a little bit to where Sternberg will be willing to sell? Because I think everything is for sale in life, just about, if the price is right. And I just don't think that maybe his delusion or illusion of what this team is worth just isn't matching up with the potential buyers. But if it does, if it starts to work here and you can see it, and maybe something comes available as far as land goes in Tampa, I really don't know. You could probably rekindle a deal in St. Petersburg, but just getting a look at this, you can imagine it, you can see drawings, you can, and wouldn't it be great if? But now you get to see it, you get to feel it, including the hot weather and the rain delays. Like, you get to see it, and I think that's so powerful of an image that I personally, I know it could happen, and they want the city to fix up the Trop again, and they'd have to do it, right? Even if they were building a stadium tomorrow somewhere in Tampa. But I think it's going to be hard to go back there, right? To me, it would, after this season, with possibly a great following and playing in Tampa and playing on grass, real grass, and playing, outdoors, to then have to march back over there and go inside a repaired Tropicana field. I think that's the opposite feeling they're going to have on opening day. So I can't wait to see what it looks like, what it feels like. It's crazy that they're transforming that, mini Yankee Stadium into a home ballpark for the Rays, but it's really exciting that they're doing it. I can't wait. Hey, you know what you also can't wait for is to find out what time it is. And how do you do that? You get yourself a beautiful Swiss watch, and you do that at the Breitling Boutique. It's an International Plaza. You're on the Tampa side anyway, watching the Rays play. Swing on by International Plaza and go to Breitling Boutique. It's in the kind of the middle of the mall, second floor. You talk about customer service, man, you're going to enjoy this experience. Go in there, have a drink. Let them explain to you their various watches that they have for men and for women. And of course, if you're a sports fan, in particular an NFL fan, they've been having this limited edition of the NFL watches commemorating the 104th year anniversary of that league. These things are beautiful chronomat watches. They've got the team colors on the face of the watch itself, as well as the logo, and they're limited. And so what that means is, going back to the holidays, there are only a few, I think, Buccaneer watches left at that location. But then you can also get any team in the NFL while supplies last. It's Breitling Boutique. Also, they have beautiful watches for women, for your wife, for your girlfriend, sports watches, very durable, absolutely stunning, and all kinds of different colored wristbands to go with that. please get on down to the International Plaza Mall and go see our friends at Breitling Boutique, middle of the mall upstairs. Make sure you tell them that you heard about it on Sports Day Tampa Bay.
Have you caught any of March Madness or March Chalk, maybe?
March Gladness.
12 of the Sweet 16 are the top 4 seeds.
Wow.
There's also a 5, 2 6s, and a 10. That's it.
Just tells me the committee did everything the right way, Steve. I don't know.
And all 16 Sweet 16 teams come from the Power 4 conferences.
Sure they do. So Cinderella has not been invited to the ball this year?
No.
Oh, no.
Which probably for television ratings in the first day of the tournament, I know was the highest ever. For television ratings, it'll be good.
Right.
But part of the appeal of March Madness is the craziness, and there's none.
Absolutely. It's the craziness. It's the upsets, all those images of buzzer beaters and teams going crazy after they upset, like Valpo way back in the day. And, I can remember many of those. We covered, I think this is true, and I'd have to look it up. So there was a sub-region in Tampa probably a few years ago. And I'm telling you, if there were 4 games in one day or 5 games, like 3 of them ended in last-second buzzer-beating shots. It was insane. Like the region was just insane like that. But you're right. It's all chalk. It's all, I'll take the blue bloods. You take everybody else.
Well, NIL and the transfer portal and all that's allowed the best play, And like I said, look, the best teams are making the Sweet 16 and presumably will make the Elite 8 and Final 4.
Which you like, yeah.
Which you like. But part of the appeal of March Madness is when that George Mason as an 11 seed makes it.
Heck yeah.
It's just missing this year.
Yeah, those are the stories. It's always been missing or has been missing for a long time in the women's game.
Yep.
And now to see it come over on the men's game is really something. Speaking of the women's game, next week,
yes,
the women's Final Four in Tampa.
Yes, sold out, I believe.
Amalie Arena, it is sold out. Still one of the greatest venues, I think, for really any Final Four.
Tampa is the first city to host the women's Final Four 4 times.
How about that? That means they like it, right?
Yes. Oh, they love
it a lot. Yeah. And I learned that in addition to my duties, if anything were to happen to Bucks, I'm going to be helping Joey Knight out covering that tournament. I'm excited. My daughter, I'm telling you, the fire has just, she's not playing. Don't get this twisted. But ever since, Caitlin Clark went to the NBA, the WNBA, and they started to identify stars and how it's filtered through college basketball and whatnot, man, she is like a huge women's basketball fan. And so I think we'll try to go there.
Did you see that Indiana Fever where Caitlin Clark plays?
Yeah.
41 of their 44 games are on national television this year.
Well, that doesn't suck, right? I mean, hey, I hear Messi's on a lot of MLS games. Is that
absolutely
true?
Yes. Oh, yes, he is.
So, hey.
No, nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying
I know.
All of them are on national television. So
I think it's great. Because I want to watch it. And, you don't have to apologize for playing the top 40 on radio every day. It's pretty cool, actually. Speaking of cool, I have a bittersweet kind of feeling right now.
Yes.
About USF's head basketball coach. And it's Brian Hodgson. And the reason is he got stolen from Arkansas State University.
Mm-hmm.
My alma mater.
The Red Wolves.
The Red Wolves are not happy. If you open the window, you'll probably hear a few crying in the in the distance. And this guy did such a good job in just a couple of years that he took them to the NIT where they lost really essentially a buzzer beater. And they hadn't been there in like 30 years. But really, we can't have nice things, Red Wolves? Was that just that part of the country, that sort of mid-major, like it's sad. And it's personal to me this time. But listen, this guy has been a terrific coach. And I'm here to tell you now, It's been a long time since Arkansas State was relevant in many things, at least of all men's basketball. But this guy, he's only 37 years old. He was he probably could have had his choice of going to UNLV, to be honest with you. But
they're going to hire Josh Pastner, the
Yeah,
former
that's
Georgia
right.
Tech and Memphis coach.
That's right. Now, in addition to losing him from the Red Wolves, I read this, and I don't know if it's true, that essentially he had a buyout. I think USF had to buy out
Yeah, $900,000.
$900,000, and if they had waited until after April 1st, it would have been $100,000 more. Man, I'm holding the dude up. I've done a lot more stupid things for way less than $100,000, but come on, man. That's like 3 NIL pitchers, right, for the baseball team. Let's go. Let's go. Why are we giving this guy away so early? No, but I hope he does well. He certainly had a hell of a year. And I don't know who he's going to coach because a lot of their players are bailing, right?
Well, and the wisdom of the NCAA, of course. The Sweet 16 is just decided on Sunday, so the transfer portal opens Monday.
Yeah, sure, why not?
So meanwhile, teams that are in the Sweet 16 have players entering the transfer portal. Just like college football with the playoff, too. It's the same way.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
It's just dumb. Scheduling is just the timing is dumb.
But yeah, USF has had, 3 players already announced they're entering the transfer portal. Of course, just because you've announced you've entered the transfer portal doesn't mean you can't stay. If you like the new coach, the coaching staff, if they want you to stay.
That's right.
I mean, this time of year, there's so many players entering the transfer portal. With the new coach and new coach coming in, like you expect a lot of the players to enter it. Now, whether they leave, where they get offers from, that's will be determined.
Right. Yeah, the portal swings both ways, man.
Mm-hmm. Well, if the coaches can go at will, then why shouldn't the players?
Right.
I just don't like the timing of the transfer. I agree with the transfer portal. Just don't like the timing.
No, it sucks. And but
John Calipari the other day talked about it. He's like, so we're in the Sweet 16 preparing for a matchup, and I've got to have those conversations with my players. Are you coming back next year? Like, he goes, and I want to have those conversations, and I've always wanted what's best for the players.
Yeah.
Whether it's to go pro, to come back, or go somewhere else.
Maybe not before I play in the tournament,
but
though.
I'd like to do it after the season's over, not as I'm going into the Sweet 16.
That's right. That's right. So if we win, would that stick around a little longer?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. I heard there's some controversy. Rick Pitino's St. John's team. I think he sat down one of his star players after he was like 3 of 17 from the 3-point line.
Well, he played 30 minutes, he said, so.
Yeah. College
so
basketball.
Don't ask those leading questions, Rick.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's good that Rick, can direct the media the way he does with a stern fist, but there were some good games. But you're right. We are missing the upsets. We are missing, that element of Cinderella, and every ball needs that, but it's not happening so far. Maybe there'll be some, some mild upsets down the stretch.
Did you see where Jameis Winston went?
I did. Now,
2-year deal with the Giants. Now, I can't take credit for this, but I saw several different people posting this online.
I think I know where
the Giants need to draft Travis Hunter.
Yes.
So that he can catch all of Jameis's good passes and then play defense after Jameis's bad passes.
I love it, man. That's so great. That's so great. That's perfect. And then, he's eating all those W's. He loves to eat the W's, but now it's going to take a bite out of the Big Apple, I suppose. I think here's what I think. I think Jameis is the perfect mentor or backup to a younger quarterback because he's been in this position where, that's my Peter King, where he, you come in, one of the worst teams in the league, highly drafted quarterback, presumably, if that's the way they go, and you need to learn to navigate that. Well, Jameis has been through it. Didn't handle it very well. Doesn't mean he can't teach you how to do it the right way, right? Doesn't mean he can't, because he has made all the mistakes that a lot of guys would make and then some. So I think he's good that way. I also believe that if you need to win one game, with your backup quarterback, Jameis can get you that one game. He can. You can go out there and flat out Monday night, Thursday night, Sunday night, doesn't matter. He can get you that win. Now, if you need to win 3 games, Jameis can get you 1 game. I just don't see it, man. I'm sorry. Like, at what point are we going to stop with he's one of the most exciting quarterbacks in the league because, well, something happens on every play. Yeah, but how much of it is any good, right? But here's the genius of Jameis. And, look, the guy's made hundreds of millions of dollars at this point. But the genius of this is we're coming off a Super Bowl that Jameis clearly didn't play in, but was a big part of, right? He was doing work with Fox. And you see some of these cut-ups. He was charismatic, interaction with players. He's very close to his next job. And there will be a microphone in his hand. And what better place to attract the attention of network execs, I suppose, than to be playing for the New York Giants. And again, I don't know who's coming in. I don't think he'll necessarily be any kind of a starter. I think they'll find a kind of a different pathway. But it makes sense with the Giants, but it really makes sense for Jameis, because you have so many opportunities that are going to come his way, in the media capital of the United States, if not the world. So he's gonna find himself really popular among about 12 million people, right away. So I wish him well. I like Jameis. We didn't always see eye to eye, to say the least, and mostly I didn't like the people around him. But very interesting that he ends up with the Giants. They're still waiting on Aaron Rodgers to come out of his darkness and, like Groundhog Day, and declare where he wants to play football now. So I don't know exactly which way that's going.
And then finally, the Lightning tonight back on home ice for a 3-game homestand.
Yeah, tough road trip, man.
They got the first one in Dallas, played really well in that game.
Yeah.
And then the back-to-back in Utah, Vegas, whether early start times, just the road trip of 3 games, 4 days, 3 time zones.
3 goaltenders.
3 goaltenders.
Yeah.
No. I mean, Vazzy played 2 of the 3. But,
he did play 2 of the 3? Okay,
yeah.
I thought maybe you said, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, Brandon Halverson was called up. Jonas Johansson dealing with a family matter, so Halverson was called up, started in Utah.
They lost 6-4, and I guess it wasn't all on him.
He didn't look great, but, yeah, the defense in front of him was a mess, too.
Yeah.
But they're home. They've been tremendous at home since the turn of the calendar to January.
Wait a minute. Should I not get my orthopedic shoes? Because I'm going to break my ankles.
Well, there's lots of people jumping off the bandwagon because of 2 straight losses.
Yeah, man. It's over.
I'm saying all of a sudden the Lightning can't play defense. Well, they D'd up against Dallas really well.
Yeah.
Just 2 games ago or 3 games ago, whatever you want to call it.
So, this is what they do, Steve. They wilt down the stretch.
Yep. But the Lightning 13-2-1 at home since January 1st.
That'll get it done. They'll get it done in the postseason for sure.
7 of their last 12 games at home, including 3 this week. So,
they're fine. They're in 3rd place by about 2 points out of 2 teams that are in 1st, right?
Yep.
So,
but most importantly, their
2 games
magic number to clinch a playoff berth is like 14 with 12 games to go, which is
just get in.
Which gets you. I mean, they'll have no problem because that's if the other teams all go perfect. Which
I really think they're going to go. I really think they're going to go. You got to get over that first hump, the first series. But if they do, man, I could see them going all the way. I could. You'll have to knock out some good teams, but
the numbers this year say they're one of the teams that can go all the way. When you look at their offense and defensive numbers, and then special teams, they're great in all of them. All the numbers, they're great.
Right. No, they're a good hockey club, and they got bigger plans than the first round exit. I can tell you that for sure. I'd like to see them get a little higher up in the standings just to avoid some teams, but should be fun. Boy, it's been a busy weekend. It's going to be a busy week. We've got a lot of stuff coming up really through the weekend, and then next week even crazier because you got the the NFL owners meetings are a week from Monday.
Yep.
And we'll be talking to Todd Bowles, GM Jason Light. Bowles has a breakfast on Tuesday morning, and then stand by for this. Bucks owner Joel Glazer with his once-a-year media availability from Palm Beach, which will be cool. So we'll get to ask him about a lot of stuff. And if you have some questions you'd like to ask him, send them to me on Twitter at NFL Stroud. But yeah, so, and I'm going to be doing part of the women's Final Four next week, which is going to be exciting. My daughter's stoked about that.
Yep.
Not that I'm doing it, but that she just loves women's college basketball.
I love this time of year with all the events. I mean, the Final Four. We had Valspar this past week.
Valspar was fantastic, by the way.
I went out there on Saturday. It was a beautiful day.
Oh, man, but the Sunday, I mean, poor JT.
Yeah.
2-shot lead, man. 2-shot lead. You can't control the ball off the driver. It's terrible. So hard to watch. Because he could have used that win, almost as much as or more than Victor Hovland, but was not to be. But man, I was out of town, as you know, and it looked great on television. The whole setup, big time looking tournament.
Like I said, we went out there Saturday. Took my boys out there, and it was a beautiful day.
Now, are they get the golf bug yet? Or they?
Yeah, they've started. We haven't gone out to. We've gone out to par 3 courses, but
yeah.
They're starting to get that bug, and they liked it. So they had a blast out there. So
that's great. That's just great. Yeah. So it's good to be back. Good to be back in one piece. Sending healing vibes my wife's way. But we got the Lightning playing tonight, right?
Yep. Penguins in town. Yep.
Penguins are in town, so you'll be
Anthony Cirelli's 500th game.
Oh, is it 500? Really?
Yeah. Yep. And Thursday night should be Ryan McDonough's 1,000th game.
Oh, that one, I believe. Yeah, you can see that. You can see some of the tread off of Ryan's tires, but yeah, good to have them back after that sort of uneven road trip. Get your mailbag questions in, but mostly go see our friends at Breitling Boutique International Plaza Mall. Check out their 104th year anniversary of the NFL. All the team watches 32 while supplies last. It's Breitling Boutique International Plaza Mall, and please let them know that you heard about it on Sports Day Tampa Bay. For Steve Versnick, I'm Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times. Have a great day, everybody.